My best friend humiliated me at my engagement party. So I let the truth catch up to him. I never thought the worst moment of my engagement party would come from the one person I trusted most in the room. We'd been best friends for over 10 years. Met in college, survived bad apartments, worse jobs, terrible breakups. He was the person I called when something went wrong and the first person I called when something went right. When I proposed, he hugged me and said he'd known it was coming before I did. He even offered to help plan the engagement party. At the time, I thought it was generous. Looking back, I realized he wanted control. The party itself was everything we hoped for. Friends, family, laughter, music. My fiancée was glowing. Not just happy, but relaxed, like she felt safe and celebrated. I remember thinking how lucky I was, how grateful I felt that so many people showed up for us. Then my best friend stood up to give a toast. First, it was perfect. Funny stories from college. Harmless jokes. People laughed easily. He had always been good at commanding a room. That was part of his charm. Then he said, "I just want to say how proud I am of you for finally settling down." Normal enough. But then he added, "Especially after everything." The room quieted just slightly. Enough that I noticed. He laughed and said, "I mean, after all those late nights, all those questionable decisions, I'm honestly surprised we made it here." People laughed again, but it was different. Uneasy. My chest tightened. He looked directly at my fiancée and said, "But hey, everyone's got a past, right?" That was it. That was the moment. He didn't accuse me outright. He didn't name anything specific. He just planted the idea and let it bloom. He let people fill in the blanks with their own worst assumptions. I watched my fiancée's smile fade in real time. She stood up without a word and walked away. I followed her to the bathroom. She was crying, asking me what he meant, asking if there was something I hadn't told her. Her voice wasn't angry, it was hurt, confused. That hurt worse than anything. I told her the truth. There was nothing to confess, nothing to explain. By the time we came back out, the party was broken. Conversations were hushed. People avoided eye contact. My best friend acted confused, like he had no idea why the mood had shifted. Later that night, he texted me. He said I was overreacting, that it was just a joke, that if my relationship was solid, it wouldn't matter, that people were too sensitive these days. That's when I realized something important. This wasn't a mistake. This was jealousy. I started replaying old moments in my head. The backhanded compliments, the subtle digs disguised as humor, the way he always needed to be the most interesting person in the room, the way he struggled whenever someone else was happy and he wasn't the center of attention. He didn't like that my life was moving forward. What he forgot was that I knew him better than anyone. 2 years earlier, during one of his worst breakups, he'd confided in me about something serious, something deeply personal, something that, if revealed, would completely change how people saw him. He made me promise never to tell anyone, and I kept that promise. I didn't rush into revenge. I didn't confront him. I just stepped back and waited. Months passed. My fiancée and I worked through the damage. We talked. We rebuilt trust. She believed me, but the memory of that night still lingered. Then the invitation came. His engagement party. I almost didn't go, but my fiancée squeezed my hand and said, "Go. Finish it." The party felt eerily familiar. Same laughter, same speeches, same sense of celebration. He looked happy, proud, even like someone who believed he'd won. When it was time for speeches, I stood up. I congratulated them. I told a few funny, harmless stories. People relaxed, smiled, laughed. Then I said, "I just want to say how incredible it is to see you so happy, especially knowing how far you've come." His smile faltered. I continued, calm and steady. "After everything you've worked through, the therapy, the rebuilding, the promises you made to be better." The room went silent. I paused and said, "And of course, after learning how damaging jokes can be." I looked directly at him. "But hey," I added lightly, "everyone's got a past, right?" I sat down. I didn't explain. I didn't have to. The people who knew, knew. The people who didn't could read it all over his face. His fiancée asked questions that night. They didn't get married. Update. He confronted me weeks later. Furious. Shaking. Accused me of betraying him. I told him calmly, "I didn't betray you. I followed your rules." He hasn't spoken to me since. My fiancée and I did get married, and we're very careful now about who we call a friend. Thank you for watching. Check out my video for more stories like this. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Midnight Tea Stories.